Hello everybody and welcome to Storm Raids, and today I'm going to be talking about my second quarter series update. Okay, so I've been meaning to get this video out for a while. It just hasn't happened. And everything. I've other things happening or not feeling well and things like that. But I still wanted to get it out and everything. And so basically, this is my way of kind of letting myself know how well I'm doing on my series. This is my version of the SAS, which is Series About Series. I do quarterly check-ins and things like that just to kind of remind myself of these are the series that I've been working on. These are ones that I just started and things like that. And my goal is to either DNF a series if I'm not interested in it, finish the series, catch up on a series, or continue working on a series more than starting new series. I'm always going to be starting series. It's just going to happen. I'm just a series gal, and the things that I like to read are always pretty much going to be series. I have been reading a lot more standalones because I've been trying to read some of my retro romances that are standalones, but pretty much even a lot of retro things that I have can come from series. So today I'm going to first show kind of just like an overall stats page, and what I'm doing with this whole presentation board thing that I have going here in Canva is I'm building on it each quarter. So you will see things from the first quarter and you'll see things from the second quarter mixed in. Now everything from the first quarter I have lessened the transparency on so that you can kind of tell that those were from the first quarter opposed to those that are in the second quarter. I've also got like a Q1 and a Q2 trying to help, things. And for now, so when I get done with this, I will lessen the transparency on Q2, and then whenever I read a series book in Q3, I will be putting those on there. I haven't done that yet because I haven't done this video, but I do have some that I need to put on there and everything. And with ongoing series, if I continue to work on them series, I will be shuffling things around and everything so that the series always stays together, and you will see that reflected in this and everything. So enough yammering, I'm going to just get into update. Okay, so this is my kind of like little stats page where I'm just kind of keeping track of how many books that I've been reading on series and things like that. So as you can see, in black I have Q1 and in red I have Q2, and that's kind of how I'm keeping track of it here so it's easier to see. And then when I start my Q3, I will make the Q2 black and the Q3 red. And that's just kind of how I'm going to go and everything. And so you can see that in quarter 2, I finished 6 series, but I didn't catch up on anything. I continued on 17 series, and I started 16 series. So I did work on more than I started, like first in series, but not by a lot. Oh, and I forgot to add on here that I DNF'd a series. I forgot about that when I was making this. Oh well. So the total series that I worked on was 39. And the total books worked on within those series was 49. So, not too bad. Now, this here is just a total of all books read, standalone, and I just put it here just so I can see. So, total books for the first quarter was 46. So, total for the second quarter was 64. So, I've read, at the end of the second quarter, not counting whatever I read for this one, 110 books at the time. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the series that I DNF'd, which was the Septimus Heap series. I'm sure if you were following along with me that you noticed that that series just kind of dropped off and I didn't talk about it anymore. I don't remember if I even told anybody that it was DNF'd or anything. I can't remember. But yeah. So it got DNF'd at the fourth book, and there's, I think, 7 books in the series. But I was buddy reading this with Sherry, and we just didn't care. It didn't feel like it was going anywhere. The books were getting thicker, and it makes me wonder if, even with middle grade, that fantasy is just not as loved as it used to be for me. I used to really like middle grade fantasy. I think now it's going to be a certain type of fantasy, probably for middle grade. Maybe a little bit more adventure than just mostly magical, which I think I would say that this was more of, and everything. The Dark Toad was a 0.5. It was in between the first 2 books, I believe. That's why it's there. If I can remember right, that's why I put it there anyway. And yeah, so I just didn't like it, and so it happens. Okay, so here are my finished series. And so I finished the Big Fat Zombie Goldfish series by reading 3 books. So we have Anything is Possible, Live and Let Swim, and Jurassic Carp. Then I finished the Myrtle Hardcastle series by Elizabeth C. Bunce by reading Myrtle Means an Opportunity. And then the Fright Watch series by Lauren Lawrence by reading Unmasked. The Aggie Morton Mystery Queen series by Martha Jocelyn by reading The Seaside Corpse. Zombie Season by Justin Weinberger by reading Rise of the Ancients. And then the Blackbird Trilogy by Heather Graham by reading Cursed at Dawn. So I think I did really well with finishing the series in the second quarter, and I'm hoping to keep that going and maybe be able to finish out a few more in the third quarter. We'll see how it goes. And as you can see here, I didn't catch up on anything. So moving right along. Okay, so now we're moving on to the series that I've continued working on. So in the second quarter, on this page, I've only added 1 book, and that is Murder on Madison Square by Victoria Thompson. It is the 25th book, I believe, in the Gaslight series. And that's the only one on this page. The other ones were from last quarter. So, on this page, I've got, I continued with the J.P. Beaumont series with Taking the Fifth, Improbable Cause, and A More Perfect Union, all by J.A. Jans, in case I forgot to say that. Then I continued on with the Goosebumps series by reading Welcome to Camp Nightmare and The Ghost Next Door, and Encyclopedia Brown by reading Encyclopedia Brown Tracks Him Down. I'm not even going to attempt to say where I am in some of these series because I don't remember the series number. We're just gonna go with it. I continued on with the Rat series by reading Lair by James Herbert. And here we have the Last Kids on Earth series by Max Brailer. I continued on by reading Midnight Blade, June's Wild Flight, and Skeleton Road. And then we got the second book of The School for Wicked Witches, which was Wicked Never Waits by Will Taylor. And the Desmond Cole Ghost Patrol series, I read Night of the Zombie Zookeeper, and that's by Andreas Mendoza. That's it. Then the Middle School Bite series, I read Out for Blood by Stephen Banks. And the Case File 13 series, read Evil Twins by J. Scott Savage. Then I read 2 books from the Sackett series, and so we've got The Far Blue Mountain and The Warrior's Path. And then we have 1 book from Will Trent, and this is Undone by Karen Slaughter. 1 book from the Basil of Baker Street Mysteries, which is Basil and the Pygmy Cats. And 1 from the Kate Burkholder series, which is Her Last Breath by Linda Castillo. And 2 from Theodore Boone series by John Grisham, The Fugitive and The Scandal. And 1 from Jack Reacher series, which was Tripwire by Lee Child. And I had 2 from Spooksville. We had The Haunted Cave by Christopher Pike and Aliens in the Sky by Christopher Pike. And then another Goosebumps series spin-off, House of Shivers. And I read Say My Name by R.L. Stine. So now we're moving into all the first in series books that I have. And so the first one I have for second quarter is Throwback by Peter Lorangas, and I believe the series is called Throwback, I believe. And then we have Welcome to Smellville, which was the first in the Garbage Pail Kids by R.L. Stine. Murder by Lamplight by Patricia McDonald, which is the first in the... It's the Julia something, Dr. Julia Lewis series? I'm really, stretching here. I'm not sure. The first in the Spine Chillers series by Freddie Katz, which is something about a carnival, and I accidentally cut it off here, so I can't read it. Okay, so it's Dr. Shiver's Carnival. I had to look it up. It was driving me crazy. You would think I would be better at this by now. Then the first book in the Mostly Ghostly series by R.L. Stine, which is Who Let the Ghost Out. The first volume of the Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, and I don't remember the names, and they're too small on there, but there's like 3 names for that one. Sorry about that. And then the first book in the Treasure Hunter series by James Patterson and Chris Grabenstein, which was called Treasure Hunters. We have Star Trek: The Motion Picture by Gene Roddenberry, and on Google this is listed as the first in series, probably of many different ways and versions that Star Trek is labeled, and we're just going with it. And then Star Trek #1 by James Bleach, and since there's like 12 of these books, I just decided that they could be series and put it here, and I only have the first one. And then Sleuths on the Loose, which is Myrtle Jr. #1 by G.T. Carber and Chris Grabenstein. And the Berlin Games by Lynn Dayton, which was the first book in the Bernard Sampson, I think that's what it is, series. And then Sins of the Fathers, which is the first book in the Matthew Scudder series by Lawrence Block. And then we're down to the last 3. So we have Desert Heat by J.A. Jance, which was the first book in the Joanna Brady series. The Queen of Ocean Parkway by Sarvenes Tosh, and I probably butchered that. and I believe it's the first book in the Queen of the Ocean Parkway. And then The Last Dragon of Mars by Scott Rentig. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I even listened to it be pronounced on Google and I still don't remember. But I think it's the first in the Dragon Ship series. I believe that's what it's called. And that's everything. So there you have it. Just a quick rundown of how the second quarter went for me whenever it comes to series and everything. I do think I've slowed down a little bit this year in books in general. Like, I haven't been reading quite as many books as I have previously, and a lot of that's due to trying to fit in my retro books that I do have to read with my eyes, and so that takes a little bit more time out from my series books. But I do hope to get to a little bit more in the latter half of the year and everything, and try to fit in more of my series books and things, because I think I can be doing a lot better than this, even though I think I did fairly well. I mean, I know I'm going to always start series, but if I can keep track of the series, and even those ones that I've just started, like the first book in the series, if I can get to like maybe the second book in this latter half or something, I'd feel a lot better about things. And that's why in September I always try to do a Seconds in September, to kind of get myself to read some of the second books in series that I have, even ones from like last year or even previous year and everything. I'm trying to be better about not just starting a series with book one and then leaving it hanging, because I do that quite a bit. They make fun of me all the time because I'll be like, oh, I've read the first book in that series, or oh, I've read the first book in that series. But yeah, it's been so long ago that I would have to start a lot of series over, because yeah, I just read that one and then nice shiny things came in and I read them instead. So let me know how you did with your series during the second quarter. Are you trying to work on your series like I am? You can let me know maybe the number of series that you worked on, or anything like that, down in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.